Greetings, citizens! It's been a while, intentionally. So, let's get unhinged and throw a salty fit because I'm an impatient snowflake millennial who doesn't quite understand game development. In today's video, I'm going to be doing my best to squish in the topics of 3.3.6 and the anniversary sale into one kind of semi-long video. I'll try to remember to provide timestamps in case one is of more interest to you than the other, but I've been told I'm kind of retarded, so I might not be able to figure it out. Anyways, onwards! So, as I said, I've intentionally been kind of silent on Star Citizen over the last few weeks, and the reason for that was to give CIG's persistent universe build a chance to kind of settle down. After 3.3 hit live, 3.3.5 went into Evocati testing with a quickness, and I felt like it was kind of important to have a semi-finished build before I started talking about features or issues I had with the game state, because I didn't want to put 5 hours into cooking a video just for them to put out another update that invalidated parts of the topic. Well, here we are, 3.3.6, it's been live now for a little over a week, and I think it's fair to discuss the state of Star Citizen as of 3.3.6. So, let's start with the obvious. With 3.3.5, the planet, the first true interactable planet, Hurston, was introduced, along with its 3 moons. While a lot of people are going to be fapping away to this milestone, and it is a huge milestone for Star Citizen, please stay grounded and remember that as of 3.3.6, we are now at 50% of what was promised to be released with 3.0 in 2017. That said, it is a milestone. With Hurston, we have a planet that is quite massive, contains multiple biomes versus the prior moons of Yella, Selen, Delamar, and Daymar, which were all mostly bland, lifeless rocks of a single biome. Now, while the whole new biome stuff is great and all, the big focus of Hurston has been the city port of Louisville. And city is accurate. Spanning multiple kilometers, Louisville is massive. Like, you can see the Hurston Dynamics Tower from space massive. It's big. Now, while it feels a little petty to talk about the terrible optimization and frame rate going on at Louisville, there are some aspects of Louisville that I do think are worth discussing and criticizing. Most notably, the no-fly zone. But we'll get to that in a second. I've seen a ton of backers trying to shout at others for how massive Louisville is and how it's proof of the great success that will be Star Citizen. Let's be clear. Louisville is currently a tram system, a few hallways, and a spaceport area. Look, the vistas from the walkways are really amazing. I totally agree with you guys on that one. If you own a Rift or a Vive and have Vorpex, boot that shit up, and if your graphics card can take it, stroll through Louisville. It's fucking amazing. Seriously, after 20 minutes of wandering Louisville in a non-supported VR mode, it has me totally ready to offer Chris Blowies for VR support. But outside of the views from a distance, the majority of Louisville is just low-poly skybox scenery. And I kind of suspect that ties into our main issue here, the no-fly zones. After a couple weeks of playing 3.3.6, I've seen so many fanboys rapidly try to defend the giant blob of no-fly zones around Louisville with 20,000 different excuses because they feel the need to defend against every single criticism against Star Citizen, and that's some crazy cultist level shit. Currently, no-fly zones around Louisville encompass everything. There are 2 ways to get up to the city. Landing in the small sliver of the hangars where you're allowed to get under the murder-death zones, or flying up near Louisville city gates and walking into the tram station. Dear blind faithful, have you ever thought about why the no-fly zone encompasses literally every structure around Louisville? I'm not even talking about the hangars or the city area proper. Even the satellite buildings that are outside of the city have instant kill script put on them. I wonder why. Oh right, because all of that giant cityscape is low poly and probably not physicalized. Smoke and mirrors only work if you can't get inside the smoke and look at the mirrors. So, my issue with the no-fly zone around Louisville is 2-part. One is opinion and personal preference, and the other is gameplay related. When CIG started showing off Louisville, the first thing I thought was, oh my god, I cannot wait to go banging turns through that city in a Razor. The city was huge, right? So surely no-fly zones make sense over the starport to protect open areas of the New Deal ship store and the landing pads, but the entirety of the multi-kilometer city? Nah. No, there's no way they will box all of that off and deprive us of the views, right? Because then what would be the point of making a giant city just to block it all off? Psych! get screwed, citizen, because God help you if you stray from the tiny area we're okay with you going. You get instant killed. Which strikes me as weird, right? Because I remember watching old CIG videos detailing their work on auto defense turrets for starports and the like, displaying how well they could dial in the anti-air turrets. But instead of that silly shit, they opted to go with, okay, this giant red bubble? That's script death. No getting peppered with a turret before you realize, no, oh crap, I'm inside the bubble, I need to flip around. No terrain masking flight to fly under the radar and blaze through Louisville streets away from the starport. Nah. Screw all that. Let's take the lazy route and just script kill anyone who goes near the illusion. Yeah, that's the way we should implement it. I would much rather CIG implement the no-fly zone over just the starport if the intent is to stop people from suiciding ships into other ships or the ship store and eventually AI hangar pads. Then by all means, lock that area down. But those areas combined account for a tiny, tiny fraction of Louisville. There was no reason to restrict the entire city from low-level flight. At that point, why didn't we just go with the on-the-rails spaceport approaches like CIG originally planned? At least then you never have to worry about getting your ship just randomly destroyed because it dropped a little altitude or you couldn't tell where the red bubble was after it goes away. Okay, look, those are my major Louisville grapes. Let's get on with what's good. 3.3.6 has been, for the majority of backers, I know, the most stable patch CIG has probably ever put out. My frame rate outside of Louisville and Levski is constantly at a minimum 50 FPS. Around Yella and Daymar, I have an average of at least 80 frames per second, and that's on an older i7, GTX 980, and 64 gigs of RAM. Now, I understand that not everyone is getting flawless performance, but this patch has been one of the first times that the majority of players are getting incredibly high frame rates as well as server performance that allows people to play for hours without any server issues. Reliable large group play is finally a thing thanks to 3.3.6. So, really good stuff overall, right? So, why does CIG have to go and let their marketing team fuck up one of the best moments in the persistent universe? That's right. It's time to talk about the anniversary sale. First and foremost, to those of you who are newer backers, I want to apologize to you. I wish you had been around before CIG's marketing arm turned into the warped, devouring entity that it is today, to the envy of Activision, Electronic Arts, and Ubisoft. There was a time when CIG made millions based solely on the interest and support of its backers. They didn't need bullshit tactics like war bond sales, which devalued older sales. Pledges. They didn't need stuff like special rewards behind new money transactions only, restrict ship packages or outright not offer them to people who weren't concierge, or artificially decide to make previously unrestricted ships limited so that backers couldn't CCU to them in an effort to push knee-jerk predatory sales over fears of scarcity. Yeah, those were the days. So, let's break some of these things down. The anniversary event is Star Citizen's biggest event dedicated to, do you not know of me? The little Kickstarter that is going to change the world of gaming? It's the time of year where both CIG and current backers peddle Star Citizen to everyone they can, like a street peddler who has 1 week to move all of his merchandise or a supplier is putting him in a plastic barrel. Now, for the record, I don't even mind the heavy push for outreach of the project. That's not a bad thing. As a 2013 backer, I wish there had been that kind of awareness back in 2012. I'd have been able to grab a certain limited ship that's eluded me for years. My issue with the anniversary sale is it's become this anti-backer experience that it is today. So first and foremost, playing Star Citizen JPEG Hangar Game is a complex minigame within the game itself. New backers have no clue what they are doing unless a friend is walking them through it all. There are so many intricacies to pledging, like understanding which concepts are years out, which ones are nothing like what the store page is selling them as, how to maximize ship insurance. I could make an entire video out of the mess of pledging for this game. The point is that it's like throwing a new backer into downtown Fallujah with an AR and saying, all right, go figure out peace in the Middle East. We'll see you in a few years. The one and only good thing CIG did for new backers this year is bump all insurances up to 72 months. While it isn't lifetime insurance, it's damn close enough that if they made every pledge this much for the rest of Alpha, one of my biggest gripes would be absolutely pointless. Then we have the good old tried and true artificial scarcity. But with this year's new modifier of, you need to be concierge to buy expensive things from us. Sorry. I fancied myself pretty quick through the store page checkout, so I was posting store links for other people so they'd have a chance to grab some of the limited quantity items. And yet, those who had the money sitting by to purchase, but weren't concierge, couldn't even spend the money because this year CIG decided that we space nobility were more important than peasants who hadn't yet proven themselves financially loyal to the project yet. While I think that's insanity, I might have been able to swallow it if these kind of stupid changes had been announced well before the sale so that people knew that. But as usual, CIG manages to set a new record in terrible communication on the marketing front. The only way I can make sense of that whole fiasco is that CIG was worried about Star Citizen's image if potential new backers were suddenly confronted with dozens of ships costing over $500. Look, CIG, anyone who is interested in playing Star Citizen is going to see this crap eventually. If you're worried about your perception as pay to win or advance, that ship has done sailed and made a few laps around the globe already. So just stop that crap. So what other fun new shitty things did CIG cook up for this year? Oh right, arbitrarily deciding to make the Hull E and the A2 Hercules limited ships, with zero warning, meaning that there would only be an allotted amount for sale through the store and backers could no longer cross-chassis upgrade ships to these items. While making those two ships limited doesn't collapse the future of Star Citizen or anything, the issue is that CIG felt it was acceptable to suddenly lock these ships out of the CCU system that many backers, especially in that price range, rely on for CCUing multi-ship packages. And they did it with zero advanced warning. This is a major revision of the backing system that could be applied wherever CIG decides in the future. This is anti-backer on every level. And let's see, one of the other great things that came to pass this year that I'm honestly shocked to not see even a murmur about was CIG gutting the anniversary sale of previously coveted manufacturer packs. In past years, CIG would offer special ship packs that would include a large assortment of a specific manufacturer, such as the Aegis War Pack, Origin Complete Pack, Anvil Hammer Pack, and so on. These packs were great because most manufacturers have a range of cheaper ships most people wouldn't want while also offering limited ships that could then be obtained with lifetime insurance, as most of these packs were over the $1,000 threshold to give LTI, meaning you got a handful of sought-after ships while also getting a few low-dollar ships to act like built-in LTI tokens to CCU into ships that you actually wanted. Once again, I'm left wondering what reason CIG could have for deciding that these weren't worth offering unless the excuse is to avoid PR backlash over the prices, or, more likely, to help them feed their many different limited quantity false urgency sales that CIG has become so adept at pushing. Now, I understand that there are many people who are still likely coming down from their spending high and don't want to lose that feeling of this was good purchase, I did good. But these are all issues Star Citizen community needs to hold CIG accountable on, because if there's one thing that CIG has mastered, it's slowly acclimating their customers to more and more anti-backer sales practices. Would CIG sell a ton of Javelins if they offered as many as people would buy? Maybe, but by sparking that sense of urgency that causes irrational knee-jerk purchases, they ensure that if they offer the Javelin, it's going to sell every single unit that they decide to offer. It's predatory sales at its finest and just one of countless methods that CIG has been refining over the years. And so help me God if one of you tits comes into the comments with, "Oh, but balance!" Alright, you know what? Let's talk about that really quick before we close down. Tell me how it helps balance the game if an organization, say mine, buys up a large chunk of Javelins offered this year. Now let's say we're in Imagination Land where Star Citizen goes full release next year and there are no more Javelins offered. The amount of orgs who won't have a single Javelin are then forced to either face down orgs like mine that have a full wing of Javelins, much less smaller capital ships like the Idris and the Kraken, or they have to go collapse into a larger org because they just don't stand a chance. $20, says somebody was in the middle of typing, "Well, that's balance. They can look to other organizations to protect them." No, dummy, that's not balance. That's opening up people who could have afforded to have those assets in their own group to having to rely on the mercy of other orgs. Pay our tax, or the next time Org X shows up, we aren't saving you with our fleet. Want to build an Org planetary base? Sorry, none of your members managed to win the refresh war to purchase a Pioneer. But don't worry, this other org has 20 of them and they will totally build you one for a completely reasonable fee. Star Citizen is amazing, so ambitious. Every year they create new insanely complex issues CIG will have to figure out before release. Why do I keep following Star Citizen? Because it's like watching somebody get on top of the Sears Tower naked and proclaim they're gonna jump off and figure out how to land safely on the way down. How do you not want to watch that? I obviously hope he figures it out because I want to fly too, right? But man, watching him flail about on the way down while other people around me keep insisting he's obviously going to figure out because he said so. How do you not want to stay involved with something like that? Alrighty, so that concludes today's Star Citizen recap for 3.3.6 and the anniversary sale. While there's a lot more I could kind of go into with both 3.3.6 and the anniversary sale as well as the expo, I keep getting told that I spend so much of my time focused on Star Citizen by the psychiatrists over at RSI forums, and I really don't want to disregard their sound medical analysis of me based off my criticisms of a video game. So, until next time, Citizen, I am Failure to Report, and you fly safe out there.